The Indianapolis 500 never gets old.
It's our crown jewel, it's our champagne.
I want to set history. The only thing that matters at Indy is winning the race. You know, it's what dreams are made of.
We prepared for months for the Indy 500. Over 300,000 people looking for you. They want to see you winning the race at the end.
Hello folks and welcome to Indianapolis. It is day one of practice for the 110th running of the Indianapolis 500, the greatest spectacle in racing. All 33 cars have been out on track. It has been a beautiful day. 78 degrees out there, track temp up at 119, and we have had no major incidents. These the fastest drivers of the day so far. Marcus Armstrong for MSR, fastest of all from Connor Daly. David Malukas, Pato Award, Scott Dixon, your top five. We have 5 Indy 500 only entrants in the top 11 times for the day. Quite outstanding. And the no-toe laps, which we'll get to a little bit later, have been equally as impressive. And welcome up to the Fox booths. Myself, Will Buxton, James Hinchcliffe, Townsend Bell. Guys, what have you particularly been impressed with from what you've seen so far today?
I think how tight the field is. You know, we talk about some of the smaller programs like Jacob Abel, for instance, an Indy Next team, the minor league team coming up into the big show. And Jacob Abel is right there in the mix. It's just not... It's not a struggle for them as a smaller team. And then you go to a one-off team like Dreyer Reinbold Racing, Connor Daly and Jack Harvey. Our team member, Jack Harvey, right there on single car performance on their own, no toes. It's just a really compact, tight field. I don't know if you see the same thing.
I absolutely do, and the thing about it is when it is so tight, it's tough to have team cars consistently together because the margins are so small, which is what makes what Andretti Global is doing right now in the no-toe times so impressive. All 3 of their cars in the top 4. I know it's early. I know not everyone's done a qualifying sim, but for how close the field is, to have that many cars that close together in time is super impressive. The other thing that's impressive, Townsend, is you've really been putting those things to work.
Well, I'll tell you what, I was just watching Alexander Rossi, who's doing the most laps at 60 laps, and with the binoculars I can see that he is tweaking his crew member up under the nose with just a little piece of helicopter tape, trying to get rid of a little skosh of drag over there. You've got to have eyes on your prize, and you've got to constantly be working on optimizing your race car.
Fun part is Alexander Rossi's pit stands right there. But old man Townsend needs his binoculars to see.
Hey, you're a little rich coming from you.
Says the man in the glasses. Down to Georgia, who's standing by with Connor Daly.
Thanks, Will. Well, the fun part for me is following all the storylines on pit lane, the garages, around the Indianapolis Motor Speedway the whole month of May. One of those stories, and you kind of mentioned it, is that 4 of the top 10 are Indianapolis 500 only cars. Connor Daly, one of those cars, he currently sits second on the board right now, so before he goes back out, I just want to check in, see how your day's going, and we got about 2 hours left, so what's on the docket?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, Chevy hasn't even, we haven't even unleashed all the cylinders yet, so we're just kind of, you know, rolling through our plan. We've got a great car so far. You know, working with Chevy, and everyone's been super nice, obviously, when you come here, and our Kingspan Arco car is okay so far. It's a little, you know, we're a little dicey in some areas, so we'd like to fix that this afternoon. And then no one would come out and play this morning. So, well, hopefully everyone's out there when we get out there.
Hey, I have a feeling that might change here in the next 2 hours. Thank you, Connor. We'll let you get back to it. Guys, it is so beautiful today at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, but we have another beautiful guest with us on pit lane for the month of May, and that is our very own Jamie Little.
Georgia, thank you. It's been so much fun being back here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, catching up with old friends. We'll be here for a couple days. Chip Ganassi out here watching his 3 cars as he goes for a 7th Indy 500 crown. You guys are defending winners with Alex Palou. Chip, I know this place means a lot to you. What's it like to come back here in the month of May when the gates open? It's time to practice for the Indy 500.
It's a great thing, Jamie. You know, I mean, like a lot of people, it's it's certainly a large part of the fabric of my life to come back here every spring and, you know, enjoy the sun and the good weather. And I call it the harbinger of spring. I don't know what happened to baseball, but to me, Indianapolis is the harbinger of spring.
So I know you keep a toll on kind of what everybody is doing, but what are you looking for in these practice sessions? What are you listening and watching for?
Well, you know, it's just the first day, and you know, early in the day, you don't know, some guys are low on fuel, some guys have a lot of fuel, some guys want to run in the draft, some guys want to run by themselves. So you really, it's a mixed bag of what you see out there today. I know our guys are sitting here, I think, waiting to get in a group of cars at the end of the day, get a little bit of race practice in, a little bit of drafting practice. So, but it's, like I said, mixed bag.
Recently, we lost somebody that meant a lot to you and all of us in the racing community, Alex Zanardi. I know you brought him over. He was a Formula One guy. You brought him to the States. He had to figure out ovals. But just what did he mean to you? I know so many people have reached out about his loss.
Yeah, it's a tough loss. I mean, his fingerprints are certainly still on the team. He, you know, he was quite a guy. He came over at a time on our team. Jimmy Vasser was a previous champion, and he and Vasser were great friends and great teammates. And then Alex followed up with championships in '97 and '98. And he just meant so much to our team in the formative years. Really solidified the ground that we stand on today in our team. You know, validating how we run the team and you know, we have a lot of people on the team that were on the team when Alex was on the team still, and you know, nobody will ever forget him and what he meant. He traversed all of our lives in such a way that we're forever grateful for, and you know, enough can't be said about what type of the type of person he was.
Certainly all thinking about him. Good to see you, Chip, and best of luck the next couple of weeks.
Thank you.
Will?
Alex Zanardi never raced the Indianapolis 500, but he was a two-time INDYCAR champion, 15 career wins, a four-time Paralympic gold medalist, a 12-time World Championship gold medal, paracyclist, an incredible racing driver, an even better man, and sadly yes.
Green. 33 drivers are going to sprint into the eye of a tornado.
Let's go.
The Indianapolis 500.
Team Penske really has dominated the history of the Indy 500. Their first win coming back in 1972 with Mark Donohue, Rick Mears and Helio Castroneves, 7 wins between them, and a race record of 20 Indy 500 wins, 10 in the last quarter of a century. Their most recent, of course, Joseph Newgarden in 2023 and 2024. And right now, all three Penske's out on track. Those of Joseph Newgarden, Scott McLaughlin, and David Malukas riding on board with the two-time winner, Joseph Newgarden.
Yeah, this is when it starts to get fun for us up here in the booth. Starts to get fun for the drivers as well. Group running kind of kicking off. The Penske boys were the first to go out on track, and they've pulled a whole crew out of pit lane with them. You see Rasmussen's up in there. I'm seeing all the McLarens minus Hunter Ray. Pelot's in there, his Ganassi teammate, and Kiffin Simpson. So we're going to start seeing people tack on to the back of this group, maybe the middle of this group, just to really start getting some fun running going.
The back of pit lane there, I thought I saw Alex Pelot bailing out of this group and come into pit lane.
You did.
Earlier it was David Malukas and Joseph Newgarden dancing with themselves, and now McLaughlin is out there as part of the pack. McLaren guys mixing it up.
The ECR crew were doing something similar not that long ago. And this is going to be the important stuff to talk about. I mentioned it in the first stint. For me, ambient temperature just a shade below 80. Track temp 117.5. So this is, it's starting to cool a little bit actually from the peak of the day as Dixon jumps up into P3 off the back of a big multi-car tow.
So let's just kind of study here on board with Pato O'Ward. Thanks to Aero. Boy, the hands comparison to Newgarden. There's a lot more going on for Pato O'Ward just in terms of the kickback of the steering wheel in traffic. Of course, Newgarden was up in clean air, and you can really appreciate the contrast. Look at all of those micro adjustments as the front end is kind of wandering a bit, looking for grip.
The other big thing you notice is how he's having to really modulate the throttle here. When you're out front, your right foot is pinned.
All right, now we'll take a side-by-side comparison with Pato O'Ward and Joseph Newgarden. Newgarden's now in traffic, but see what we can learn from some of the hand. I mean, just O'Ward, a lot more movement on the wheel mid-corner as it's loaded.
Newgarden backing off there, trying to find a little gap a little bit further back in the train, wants some more dirty air.
Saw Pato O'Ward reach down with his right hand, make a roll bar adjustment.
Yeah, those different adjustments. Yeah, just the kickback, like you say, through the steering wheel. The amount that Pato's almost having to grip the wheel mid-corner and trying to keep it pointed straight compared to Newgarden.
If given the choice, I'm taking the Newgarden handling.
Oh,
all day long. Just so much more calm and seemingly absorbing the vibration in the bumps a little bit. And that's Pato O'Ward, I think, saying coming into the pits, not feeling particularly happy by the tone of his voice.
Ed Carpenter there in the blue and red car. That is the Slim Fast Special for 2026. Team owner and team boss of Ed Carpenter Racing, the one race of the year that he contests. And so he came in off, but Palou came in off turn 4, right?
Yeah.
Dipping down early. Normally you dip down before 3.
I know there was discussions at some point of drivers being able to use turn 4 a little bit more in practice. Normally, T-Bal, as you know, you come in off of turn 3 until carb day.
I like that. Give guys experience to practice it, especially rookies. 1-2 hour practice. As you remember, we used to get an hour on carb day. You had 1 hour to learn to pit off turn 4, and that was not enough time, frankly, especially for inexperienced drivers. And so I do like the option of drivers pitting off 4. The only risk is just making sure any trailing cars are aware of what you plan to do. You'll notice here on the back straightaway, cars dipping wheels low to indicate that they're going to pit in turn 3 on the apron.
I seem to recall maybe in that Monday practice post-qualifying you're allowed to do it.
117-degree track temperature right now as Scotty Mack pulls low and lets Newgarden by and going to tuck in just ahead of Ed Carpenter.
Get a replay of Palou coming in.
I think there's something wrong. Copy.
So maybe he pulled in off 4 because he found something wrong with the car.
My right rear.
Well, that's one you definitely don't want anything wrong with. Yeah. Jamie, what are you seeing down there?
Yeah, I'm in the pit box right now for Alex Palou. Just talked to Chip Ganassi, who was sitting on the box, and he said after that radio transmission we just heard, he said something just went clunk. So they don't know if it was a spring that came loose or something bigger than that. So the rear cover is off right now as they continue to search and see what's wrong with the 10 car.
I'll tell you what sucks about this is if they don't find anything obvious, that first lap back out for Palou is going to be a little bit sketchy from inside the race car.
Well, yeah, a clunk is never nice, particularly not at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
These things are designed specifically to not clunk at speed. So if he heard one, I mean, yeah, good on him for just peeling off of turn 4 there.
Yeah, he said right rear, but that could have been just where the feeling came from. Initially, I thought, oh, that must be a cut right rear tire. But you see Ricky Davis there. Was just in frame on the right, the crew chief. We're going to talk about it on the radio, and this is one of those decisions right now where they might be contemplating, do we try to address anything right here on pit lane or take it back to the garage to be extra thorough on Gasoline Alley. It looks like they're going to maybe analyze the right rear shock assembly.
A few moments ago, you guys were talking about rookies and the amount of practice that they need to get up to speed here for the Indy 500. We have 4 rookies in the field this year. Kaio Colette, we have Dennis Hauger, the Indy Next champion. We have Jacob Abel and Mick Schumacher. Now, you may remember Jacob Abel attempted to qualify last year for the Indy 500. Because he didn't manage to qualify, he's still considered to be a rookie, even though he has, of course, gone through the process of practice and qualifying, but in not qualifying, still considered a rookie for the Indy 500. But I must admit, I misspoke at the top of the show saying we'd seen 33 cars out on track. We've heard from Dennis Hauger on so many occasions today. I forgot we haven't actually seen his car out on track. He's been struggling with mechanical issues all the way through the day, so very much hoping, both he and Dale Coyne Racing, to get that car out on track with just under 1 3/4 hours remaining of the session as work continues on Alex Palou's car.
I mentioned that they were looking at the right rear corner of the race car from a suspension standpoint, and possible that they were taking a look at the weight jack. Are they starting to remove some accessories here to send him back out? But let's have another look at the Dallara animation, the cutaway car, to remind everybody just where the weight jacker is and what it does. Available in cockpit from an adjustment standpoint. You see the WJ buttons. Effectively, this is adding or removing diagonal cross weight on the race car. Push it to the right, it's loading up the right front with more weight. Push it to the left, it moves that weight to the left front. How does it do that? Those electronic switches on the steering wheel are adjusting this slave, this spring perch, and changing the diagonal geometry of the race car when they do that. And we understand that Alex Palou's team has now assessed everything and said exactly what we speculated might be the case. Let's go back to the garage, James. More sophisticated measurement there to assess the situation and be extra confident that they know what they're dealing with. And you got to trust your driver in this situation. Alex Palou knows something was very strange.
Yeah, exactly right. There's absolutely no reason to risk race car and race driver right now if it's not 100% confident. You see him making the universal sign for loose.
If that's what happened, they should be going. Maybe they should go back to headquarters.
We'll come back tomorrow.
Yeah,
let's go to bed. Let's go. Let's sleep on it and figure it out. But no, great call from these guys to make sure that number 10 is ready to go properly. I'm sure they'll try to get back out because there will be more really meaningful and useful group running later as more and more cars file out here in this last 90 minutes.
Well, if not, Alex Palou is currently 31st out of a field so far of 32 drivers out on track. Not the start he might have wanted.
This is Indy's champagne. It doesn't come from Champagne, France, but from the southern region of this Holstein dairy cow. Rich, smooth, and best paired with victory.
The official INDYCAR app, powered by NTT Data, puts the pulse-pounding action of INDYCAR right at your fingertips. Never miss a lap with the latest news, highlights, and live race coverage. Track every move with real-time leaderboards, interactive maps, onboard cameras, and driver radio. Your all-access pass to every race, every moment, every day. Download the official INDYCAR app.
Back at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, looking at Felix Rosenqvist in the Morgan Wallen-sponsored car. And he had a fairly fraught weekend just past, celebrating the birth of his first child. A little bit over-enthusiastic down at turn 1, collecting Pato awards. And seemingly ending his day, but he managed to continue, was fighting his way back through the field until he came across an errant Stingray Rob and over the front of Kiffin Simpson. And that really was his day then done.
Right back on the heels of Pato Award this time. It's taken a bit for Rosenqvist to close on Award, but he does now with ease and drafts on by. Pato Award, we were watching the onboard earlier at just how lively things looked behind the wheel, and Pato didn't seem very happy, came in and made some changes.
We'll see how quickly Pato can respond, see if he can make a pass back. Probably not into 3, but can he set it back up into one lap later?
Flat there in 4.
Flat there in 4, came in with full hybrid out of 4, burned the whole thing. Still not able to do it. You see him lifting off early. That hybrid recharges.
Man, tons of adjustment too.
Yeah.
It was bar, it was weight jacker into turn 1.
One of the big keys for timing passes here at the Speedway is you kind of lift off in 1 and 3 to give yourself the right gap to be able to hold it flat in 2 and 4, but still be close enough to get the full effect of that toe to try to pull the pass off. Pato's working at it here, but not quite able to get it done. Running out front, a 2:19.4 for Rosenqvist. Pato still not quite close enough.
Does look a little skatey. I don't know about you, James, but when I watched that, just kind of mid-corner, things kind of up on the track a little bit, sliding around. Don't know the tire mileage for Pato Award right now. That'll determine a lot of that mid-corner grip or lack thereof.
Award moves to the inside and fires past. We expect to see these two fighting during the Indy 500. Award, who's had 3 top 3 finishes in the last 4 years. Rosenqvist, this is an incredible stat and it's absolutely ridiculous. In the last 5 years, he's finished in one of 2 positions. He's either finished 27th or he's finished 4th.
Okay. That is a bizarre stat.
Are you aware of a closer friendship than that of Pato Award and Felix Rosenqvist?
It's funny you said that. I was about to mention that.
Rossi and Ed Carpenter, but that's got a bit of an asterisk because Ed's more team owner most of the year.
Yeah, there's a bigger age gap between the two. You know, I mean, to put it into perspective, you know, Pato was best man at Felix's wedding. I mean, I was best man at Rossi's wedding, but I'm not racing anymore.
Yeah. I can't think of another one.
I'd say that's probably as close as it gets.
I'm not sure I put McLaughlin and Newgarden in that basket right now.
Former. Wasn't Asterix a Gaul?
Excuse me?
Asterix. It's a cartoon, wasn't it? It's a comic book. Little French dude ran around, drank magic potion, beat up the Romans.
James?
Anyway, Santino Ferrucci on your screen, chasing down Pato Award. So, I mean, I know we're 4.5 hours in, but I'm not there yet.
What bizarre, quirky niche.
Come on. No,
are you going to think of next?
They even made movies.
There's a lot of movies I haven't
Not
watched.
here. Not up in here.
All right. Armstrong still leads daily. Dixon, McLaughlin, Newgarden, Malukas. Look at that. We've now got 3 Penske's up there in the top 6. 4th, 5th, and 6th. Big change up there. We're not quite yet at the speed we saw from the open test. Caio Collet, top of the 2 days with a 2:26.3. We are, however, on the no-toes, far above where Jack Harvey set his no-toe record at the open test. The fastest lap of the day being that of Carl Kirkwood on a 2:22.0.
Now that's a nice looking run by Ferrucci. Don't know if he came out on newer tires to join the car of Pato Award, but if we stay on board here down the back straightaway, I just want you to look at how dramatic the offset is for Santino Ferrucci. Maybe we can compare that to the car of Pato Award. That's a driver preference thing. We talk about this every year, but that is easily the most aggressive right hand down orientation of the steering wheel that I've seen so far. You see the steering wheel goes just past level in the corners as we see Pato Award almost level down the straight where Ferrucci's got the big drop there. Just again, driver preference. I was somewhere in the middle of those two in terms of my preference. When I was in the corner, I didn't want my steering wheel perfectly level. I did want some left hand down. James, what were you like?
I think kind of similar to you. Certainly needed a little bit, just gave you a comfort having it straight down the straight. I also didn't like, just because again it gave you almost too much lock in the corner itself. The king of the right hand down though is kind of always been Scott Dixon. He's been the one that for a long time has a pretty aggressive right hand down. He's sort of inspired Alex Palou. I mean, again, why wouldn't you be? When you came to the team and became teammates with Scott Dixon, you're going to do what Dixon does.
Well, one of the reasons that I really like to have my right hand not be too high in the corner like Pato Award's about to get there is before the aero screen came into existence, if you got your right index finger knuckle up into the air, you could take a rock or even a bug at 220 miles an hour, felt like a pebble hitting your hand.
It's also a visual thing. Your hand, if it's up at 90 degrees, can block your vision. You think back to some of the higher bank tracks, tighter radius, like a Texas, like a Iowa.
Look at this, guys. 27 of Kyle Kirkwood is, this looks like the final restart of the race. And he decides to back out. That might have been Brian Hurt on the radio saying, hey, just lay out here, cowboy.
This is what happens when you've got drivers that are up at the front of the line that want to be further back. They don't want to be towing the group around anymore. And so they decide to lift off the throttle and create these scenarios that you'll never see in the race. You're never trying to fall backwards in the race. Let's take another look at how this all transpired. You see McLaughlin pulling over. Award also decides he doesn't want to lead, so he's slowing down. You've got 3 wide up front. There is a bit of an art to it, as you know, Townsend, to finding a way to get yourself into the right pocket of racetrack without kind of creating any dangerous situations. And now that puts Kirkwood at the point.
I was usually the first to back out of those situations on practice days because it's like, hey, I don't have a backup car. Like we're here on a maybe in the first place, so everybody chill. TB's just going to roll out of it. I'll see you guys on race day.
How much of that exists in the back of the driver's mind on day one here at Indianapolis?
Completely depends on the team situation. You know, if you're driving for Team Penske, you know you've got a truckload of backup, you know, cars and parts and people ready to put things together. They've done that before. You look at McLaughlin's crash last year. Remember Sam Hornish had a big one here. They had a backup car ready in about 2 hours, just as fast. If you're a small one-off program, your Catherine Legg, your Jacob Abel, it absolutely factors into your decision making on a practice day.
But even if you're a Penske or a Ganassi, is anyone going 10/10ths on day one?
No, and also you know that your best everything is on this car right now, right? Maybe with 1 or 2 exceptions that they're literally saving for Fast Friday and qualifying, just those high-speed runs. But you know that this is the body fit, the floor, all the big bodywork pieces that are the best of the best. And if you destroy those, you know that, yeah, you're going to have a car. You're going to have a backup car if you're a Penske driver, but it might not be the same. It might not have as many hours of rubbing on it as the other ones would have.
In my later years competing here, I knew that I had no chance to compete if I did not get uncomfortable early in practice. By that, I mean get right in to the mess like you see right here on old tires and deal with fixing the race car from the cockpit. If I didn't get after that early, you really have no chance on race day. You just get swallowed up by the aggression of everything.
So it's race runs from early on and dial in qualifying.
Absolutely. That's the hardest part about this business, is learning to make the car work. Just like Newgarden is right here on Stingray, Rob, you've got to be in that nasty void of air that is turbulence.
Look at that void of air that's in the back of his head.
Hollywood!
The Indy 500 doesn't have a red carpet. It has bricks, riddled with oil, dirt, and 114 years of history. Pucker up.
The green flag flies.
The INDYCAR Fantasy Challenge, driven by Firestone, is back.
It's overtaken, same as you.
This is your chance to prove you know the fastest racing on Earth better than anyone else.
So just take care of the tires. Stay in a rhythm here.
Pick your driver.
All good. Let's get back in the game here.
Build your team.
You guys are in demand.
Compete against friends and family for bragging rights, plus some epic prizes.
It's going to be like 2 or 3 laps flat out here.
Get started for free at INDYCAR.com/fantasy or by downloading Grid Rival on the App Store and Google Play.
Hey, stay under. Keep going. We're going to have to pass those guys. Let's go, boys! Checkered flag, man. Congratulations, everybody.
Back at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, where things may look calm and serene out there on track, that's probably worth remembering. These guys are driving probably 3 times faster than anybody would normally be able to drive on a domestic road. 210, 220 miles an hour, and taking it in their stride. It constantly shocks me how easy this looks and how utterly terrifying it is.
And let's talk wind, speed, and direction a little bit. It was perfect conditions when we started the day. The wind just barely breezing around here, and now things starting to pick up a bit out of the west, maybe around 8 to 10 miles an hour now. As I look up at the windsock at the top of the pylon, there she is, that long shot. And we expect that wind direction to shift later this week, maybe 4 distinct times: a west day, an east day, a north day, and a south day through qualifying weekend. The reason that matters is that all 4 corners will behave very differently based on wind speed and direction. As you see the windsock there, and that's it's looking pretty stiff, James. That's down in turn 3. You see all the spotters that sit in turn 3 and turn 1. But I'm going to put that more in the 10 to 15 range.
It definitely looks that up there on the top of turn 3, and that's going to be something that drivers are looking at. So when you're coming down the back straight, your eyes are up. As soon as you exit out of 2, your eyes are looking up to the top of those grandstands, getting a sense of what the wind's doing, which direction, how hard it's blowing, and then same thing off of 4. You're immediately looking up at that pylon and getting a sense of exactly what's happening, and end to end it can sometimes change, and that's why, you know, race running here, but especially qualifying, can be so tricky.
As you can see, not all cars out on pit lane, and that's because when we come to Indianapolis, we have the distinct pleasure of being able to use actual built garages for the teams to head back to and do work on their cars. And with Marcus Armstrong leading the way on a 225.895, Jamie Little's found her way down to the Meyer Shank garage.
That's right, Will, and you mentioned the garages, and it's so fun to see every year how creative these teams can get. This is the Meyer-Shank garage. Of course, they have 3 drivers, so they have multiple bays here as they continue to work. Look at the vibrant colors. So their creative department went to work, got a little AI, some ideas, some real photos, and they brought it to life. Look at this Elio Castroneves. Of course, he's one of the co-owners of the team, and he's on the drive for 5, looking for his 5th Indy 500 win. But Elio's car over here, look at the wall, holding up the 4. He's standing right here. They're working on his car. Elio, how are we looking to get out in, like, your team says about 15 minutes?
Yeah, it's about that. Just made some adjustments, and now let's get some pack. And sorry, I'm not trying to give my back here, but yeah, looks like we're gonna just get out and have some fun there.
You had some laps earlier. What was any indication? Good, bad?
Yeah, it was good. We just did something in the suspension, and I was like, let's go back to what we feel comfortable. Took a little longer, but again, remember, we have to save a little bit of mileage, and but right now, yeah, it's happy hour, so we got to go out there and be on happy hour.
How about the murals? Your face everywhere.
Yeah, no, there was one that does not look like me. I was like, no, come on, guys. Look at this. I don't have that kind of mustache. Do I have that mustache? No way. I mean, but the look is awesome, huh? I love it.
Very nice. We'll see Elio Castroneves coming up. He'll be back out on track, turning some laps for the first time in a year.
I feel like he could get that stash pretty easy if he wanted to. He also doesn't have an earring, but, you know, what are you going to do?
AI.
They look like Bill Patterson paintings, loosely inspired by. It's looking good.
We are green.
33 drivers are going to sprint into the eye of a tornado.
Let's go.
The Indianapolis 500.
And welcome back to practice here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. I have made my way up to the Turn 1 spotter stand. This view is breathtaking. We're 50 feet up in the air with one of the best views in the house. This is where all the spotters stand, Turn 1. They got spotters in Turn 3, and I'm here with Chris Long. He's the spotter for the 60 car. He's got a whole setup here, and I want to bring some light to what spotters are doing up here. Sure, you're looking at your car, you're making sure they're good, you're telling them what's going on the track, but you got a lot going on up here, so I'm curious on what you have set up.
Yeah, it's a full kit between the Starlink Wi-Fi. We've got timing and scoring going, and it's linked to the pit box as well. So also chimed in on the intercom, so I can eavesdrop to what they're saying and then talk back to them as well. We've got power, binoculars, all the radios. Try to scan the cars around us, so that way we know who's pitting and who's staying out, and so we don't run somebody over. And then I got another radio channel with my my Turn 3 spotter, so we're in lockstep with what's going on. So
I was going to say, this is one of the coolest radio headsets I've ever seen.
Yeah.
How many radios do you have attached to?
It's a lot. It's 6, which is more than needed. But when you talk, you can listen to yourself, and that helps with. It helps with make sure your volume is at the right level, make sure that you're transmitting, your batteries are good, and then the crew channel, of course, race control on its own separate radio. That way you can always hear if a yellow comes out, and then maybe a couple of radios if you want to listen to another car, knowing what their strategy is or what their plan is. So.
Now, I notice a lot of spotters up here sitting down. Do you stay up here all day long, even when your car's not on track?
No, a 6-hour day. So when they do go back to the garage for an hour and a half or so, we do get a nice little break. Keeping in touch with the crew chiefs and the engineers to know when the car's coming back out. But
well, Chris, thank you so much. I mean, this has just been such a good insight into the life of an Indianapolis 500 spotter. I want you guys to take a moment just to look at this view. It's awfully windy up here too, so something to take into consideration. But as you can see, car coming down the front stretch right now, swoop into Turn 1. Joseph Newgarden flies right by us, straight into Turn 2. It's one of the coolest things I've ever seen. I could stay up here all day long, but I'll make my way back down to pit lane. How about this view, guys?
Beautiful.
Love the paint job on the headset.
Impressive.
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 I don't think that's vinyl.
I think that's hand painted.
I'm getting a strong Troy Lee vibe going on there.
I can't believe the number of radios to the car, to the crew. One's race control, one's to the turn 3 spotter, and then 2 spares for listening, 2 scanners for listening to other cars.
Plus backup batteries. Plus. But we do share a common love with a good set of binoculars. In fact, I'm going to take advantage of the chance to try to find Chris Long with my binoculars.
Yeah, good luck.
And I might have to upgrade these, James.
Yeah, I think we need some better ones. Because you got to try to keep an eye on these bright race cars. Like this sunburst livery. Oh, it's the best because he can't see it.
They're there. You laugh. These will come in handy on race day.
I promise you they won't. But
56 and a quarter hours of this left, folks.
Oh, there you go. Friends, boss employee, co-pilots. Little known fact, Ed Carpenter and Alex Rossi own an airplane together.
The Ross boss? You've been in the back of a few of those rides.
I have. One of the sketchiest landings of my life happened in the back of that airplane.
Okay, instant decision. Rossi, Carpenter, better pilot.
Rossi.
Okay.
He refuses to fail.
Got it.
He's a good kind of personality. Most racing drivers I'd be terrified of flying with, but Rossi's just, he'd be too angry at himself for doing something wrong.
But is that bad if you're in bad weather coming into a short runway at night and it's a missed approach and he keeps trying over and over again?
No, he would find one that he could land properly.
Oh, okay.
And
He
not
would
have
just
to worry
keep
about
trying, like, I'm getting this thing down no matter what.
No.
Which driver with a pilot's license would you least like to fly with?
I mean, literally the rest of them.
I wouldn't say that. Scott Dixon was a pilot for a while. Nolan Siegel, I think, was a pilot.
He gave up his pilot's license. Good at piloting race cars, too. Alex
Very
Rossi.
good. On debut, Alexander Rossi won the Indianapolis 500, the 100th running back in 2016. An incredible moment. And Alex admitted himself he didn't fully understand what this race meant until that very moment.
What's cool about that clip is you saw his crew guys jump off the wall in gray fire suits. That Napa deal was done the week of the race. That was not a sponsor of Rossi's in the first part of the season. That was a last-minute deal done, and it turned into, for anybody that's followed, since 2016, that turned into a career-long at Andretti for Alex Rossi sponsor. So it just shows the power of this race. A company that was mildly interested in being here just for the one day turns into a multi-year primary sponsor on a multi-race winner and championship contender.
As a Rossi sponsor expert, what is Juicehead right there? What do they make? Just curious.
Products.
Okay. We'll do some research and get back to you on that.
Yeah.
So I did text with Alex Palou just now. He said it is not an issue with his weight checker. That's what he thought it was, which is, I think, why the team went to check that right rear. But he said it's something else, but he didn't tell me what else.
Townsend, anytime something falls off someone's car on a track, what do you say is falling off their car?
Well, the natural assumption is vape.
Yeah.
Straight away.
That's Juicehead.
Got it. Did you know that?
I did, but what did you say?
I'm joking. I remember I've speculated vape debris a couple of times over the last.
Literally every time we're on a street course and something falls off a car, Townsend goes, "Oh, looks like he dropped a vape."
The fact that you put that together, Will, that's impressive.
Because he's listening. You might.
Sorry, what?
He's listening.
What are you saying? Look, back case, Scott Dixon.
Look at Palou. Let's see what's going on here. Maybe we can go full screen on the Palou garage to see what they're working on. Barry Wanzer's involved on the left rear, maybe.
Looks more right reary, maybe.
Or more rear.
The interesting thing for me here is that while the guys are working on the car, if you look to the left, if we can look to the left.
Oh, they're under the car.
If Alex Palou thought this was run-of-the-mill, he wouldn't be in there. He'd have gone. He'd be putting his feet up. He'd be chilling. That's a concerned Alex Palou.
I think he's just ready and waiting to get back out there, so there's no delay. He knows hour and 12 left on the clock.
I think he's keen to know what the issue is.
Yeah.
You know, that's certainly certainly not a great feeling. But the fact that you still have, you know, flashlights looking at all different parts of the car tells me that there's not been an obvious kind of smoking gun of what caused that feeling and that sound. You know, he said he heard a clunk.
Yeah, you got guys looking at motor, guys looking at either gearbox or suspension. There's people underneath the car. There's people now on the right rear looking very closely, maybe at the uprights. They are trusting the seat of the pants feedback from their pilot, who has grounded the aircraft for now.
For now. Still Armstrong fastest from Daly, Dixon, Kirkwood, the 3 Penske's, Ward Rossi, Jacob Abel up in the top 10. Big gaggle of cars out on track. More pack running when we return.
The Indy 500 doesn't have a red carpet. It has bricks, riddled with oil, dirt, and 114 years of history. Pucker up.
Marcus Armstrong, fastest, has gone in to talk to Alex Palou. See what's up with his kind of partial stablemate, the MSR team in a technical alliance with Ganassi. But it's a good start to the Indy 500 week, or 2 weeks for Marcus Armstrong. Very strong. Meanwhile, out on track, Connor Daly is still putting down impressive laps, second fastest overall today, and just pulling up behind him is his teammate Jack Harvey, who's just leapt up into 8th with a 2:23.743. Dry Reinbold Racing only take part in the Indianapolis 500, and they have turned up to play. They look rapid in the open test. They've looked rapid again today. Excellent preparation from the team, and their drivers in Connor Daly and Jack Harvey have the experience and are ready to put it all to good effect.
Yeah, you see him up there on the no-tow report. Jack Harvey, 3rd currently on no-tow. Ferrucci doesn't look all that comfortable in dirty air right now. Harvey's got to back out of it in turn 1, but the closing rate of that Chevy has been impressive. Nothing better than pure car speed as we take a look out the back, and pretty good sized gurney flap there on Ferrucci's car in race running trim.
We did Jack dirty with that photo, didn't we?
I mean, he took it.
Ferrucci setting up Daly on the run down to 1. An easy slide past.
Jack Tech coming down a bit, 115. Every degree that it drops down kind of below 118, just gets a little better, a little better.
And we can say that Dennis Hauger, the Indy Next champion and INDYCAR rookie, is out on track. So we've got all 33 cars out for day 1 of practice here at Indianapolis. Great news for Dale Coyne, great news for the rookie. Every lap he can get in between now and the end of the day will be vital. 1 minute and 1 hour, sorry, and 6 minutes remain on the clock.
Five o'clock shadow, always fierce here at Indy. In turn 1, it really, as the sun sets in the west and the turn 1 grandstand overhangs, casts a pretty big dark shadow. It takes a while to get adjusted to that as the number 19 car
back in. He's completed.
Dennis Hauger is out there, sorry.
Yeah, so he completed 6 laps so far, but sat down in pit lane having a good look at everything.
Very similar livery to that of Jack Harvey, who slides back underneath Santino Ferrucci and gets back to the lead of this 3-car pack.
Teammate Roman Grosjean has done 29 laps today to Dennis Hauger's 6.
It's not huge. Most of the day so far. Kiffin, no, Rossi on 69.
Rossi and Mick Schumacher have kind of been trading highest lap count all afternoon. Kiffin Simpson has cut up. Rasmussen up there as well. 58 laps for the Danish driver.
Just 7 laps for Helio Castroneves. James, you and I have known Helio for a long time, raced against him. You pointed out right away that was a pretty subdued interview with Jamie Little. I took from that maybe Helio's not that happy with his race car right now.
Yeah, and he said to Jamie, we're going to go back to a setting that feels more comfortable. But yeah, you're right. He just didn't quite seem himself, did he? Something, a touch of concern in the voice and the body language, but back on track now for happy hour as he aims to be a little bit happier, I think, than he was.
I don't know if that's a handling issue in isolation or maybe a little bit of slow car syndrome. Either way, we would love nothing more than Helio Castroneves to have a shot to see a 5th victory here at Indianapolis. Can you imagine, Will, the reaction on the front straightaway? I was here, of course, for the 2021 win, and the relationship between Helio Castroneves and the fans here,
it's incredible.
And what that dynamic was like post-race was something I'll never forget.
For Helio to equal the greatest who've ever done it in taking 4 victories was special. To place his name above them all and be a 5-time winner, I mean, I don't want to jinx it.
Well, nobody believes in magic more than Helio out here on the racetrack, and he's proven time and time again that there's just something special when he gets behind the wheel.
Well, I mean, I've just done a little bit of digging into our data here to maybe shine some light on what had him upset. I looked at the no-toe times. He's all the way down in 33rd.
Okay, well, that would explain it.
So this might not be a handling issue so much as a pure pace issue with the 0-6. Hasn't had a ton of laps on his own, to be fair, but still.
He just turned a lap, though, of 220.3, but he's getting some help.
Yeah, definitely getting some help from Ed Carpenter up ahead.
Well, Helio Castroneves, a 4-time winner. Foyt, balancer, Rick Mears, the 4 on 4.
This is Indy's champagne. It doesn't come from Champagne, France, but from the southern region of this Holstein dairy cow. Rich, smooth, and best paired with victory.
Well, earlier today, Alex Palou out on a run on track, forced to come in, having felt something on the rear right of his car go clunk. Brought it back to the garage. The car is up on the jack. The team's taken a look underneath. Going to have a little listen to exactly what he said and what he felt that made him pull into pit lane.
I think there's something wrong. Copy. My right rear.
The 4-time champion and defending race winner Alex Palou still in the garage. An hour left on the clock. Jamie Little down there at the Ganassi garage.
Yes, and Alex had said he just heard something go clunk. So they're back here in the garage, as we've talked about. But the team now telling me they are going internal. They're going to tear apart the gearbox. They've already taken the springs off. So they are at a loss right now. What is causing this problem? And, you know, Palou was out on track 22 laps, and he's 31st on the board, so not a lot of speed so far. So they certainly want to get back out. At this point, they're not sure that's going to happen today for the defending Indy 500 winner.
I would suggest not, with an hour left on the clock, if they're having to take everything apart to try to diagnose a problem.
Did you say an hour left?
I did.
You know what that means.
There it is.
There it is.
Crack open a can. It's happy hour at Indy.
Nice. I'd forgotten about that.
ECR boys leading the train right now. It's a short one. Small group, 5 cars out on the track. Rosenquist is in there. Newgarden hanging out at the back. Stingray Rob's trying to keep pace. But I think that number is just going to grow. Usually you get some cooperation between teams. I mean, we don't have the kind of 5-car power teams that we used to have back in the day. Most teams are 3 cars. A few have a 4th this weekend. Like a McLaren, like a Rahal. Those are the 2 teams that can kind of set the mood, so to speak.
Speaking of Rahal, it's Graham Rahal in the 15 there. The blue car just rolling out of pit lane to join the party here. We'll look for others to try to resume the pack as well. And that's a key piece here, Will, is your crew being able to time to perfection the release of your car from the pit box and have you blend ideally just at the back of a train as you come out of pit lane. When you get it right, it's a beautiful thing. When they put you out there too early, it can be sketch factor 10 when you get down to turn 3 with a pack of 12 cars barreling down on you and seemingly nowhere to hide.
Guys, when we look at the teams that are entering 4 cars, we look at RLL, look at McLaren. Why don't Penske and Ganassi enter a 4th car for the biggest race of the year?
I think a lot of it comes down to resource, and I don't say that from a financial side. Obviously, those teams, they could afford to do it if they wanted to. But there's a human element, there's a human resource that comes into running an Indy car here at the Speedway. The amount of time and energy that goes into prepping one of these cars, then to have an extra crew going over the wall that are going to perform at a high level. You're usually what happens is you end up poaching 1 or 2 people from your other 3 crews to kind of create the 4th crew. And it's just taking away from your 3 full-time programs.
I'll tell you another good reason why they don't is what for? That's the question. With whom? For what purpose? Who is it that's out there that's not in the Indy 500 that a Penske or Ganassi would say, well, if we had that guy in a 4th car, we'd have a better chance of getting a win?
That's fair.
I don't know who that is right now. We saw Kyle Larson the last few years. Undoubtedly a massive talent come over and get in there, but wasn't easy.
Well, it's Ryan Hunter-Reay with McLaren, and it's Takuma Sato with Rahal, 2 previous winners, so that makes sense.
Yep.
But
yeah, who you
for Penske and Ganassi, is it going to increase our chances to win, or is it going to stretch us thinner and reduce our chances with our primary 3 cars?
Okay, let's say the day comes when Scott Dixon hangs up his helmet, but he says to Chip Ganassi, you know what, I'd like to come back and do the 500 every year. You think he'd run a 4th for Scott?
MSR does it for Elio.
Yeah.
I could very much see that being that kind of program. Andretti did it for Marco for a number of years.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of drivers that kind of have that tenure with the team, have that relationship that can add, they can value add, right? They are adding something to the program. That's the big difference.
Rumor had it Andretti were going to do it for Colton Herta this year.
Exactly right.
If Max Verstappen said, I'd like to have a go, I think you'd have to give it some consideration.
You'd have to think about it. Although I'm not sure. I mean, that's a big ask for a driver to come in here. But the thing about Indy, what makes it so great for that type of program is you do have all of these 24 hours of practice to get up to speed. We're not going to Phoenix and having 1 hour of practice before qualifying. You have the time to learn. You have the time to build up to what you need to do. So this is the greatest race to drop, a talented racing driver from a different discipline in to try to figure it out. And I'm just watching Elio there with a smile on my face, T-Bell. He still runs that old school line above the white line on the racetrack on the inside, shallow on the exits.
Should we go talk to him this year?
It is so, you cannot teach an old dog new tricks around this place.
We've tried.
He's going to just hold up his 4 fingers and all the bling will blind you.
He
Look at
has
that,
proven us
miles
wrong
above it.
many times before. In fact, when you look back at some of his wins, that line, even in race running, he was doing it back then. Completely different technique. But right now, as Castroneves crosses the line, that lap, a 2:11.5. Now it looks like he's coming in, but this looks like the body language of this racing line and the car right now suggests still not happy.
And this is what I wonder is, are the performance engineers, the data engineers at MSR looking at the video and saying, hey man, I get it. I know you've won this thing as much as anyone else in history, but do you mind just trying a couple laps this way?
Can you imagine being like a 22-year-old Purdue grad on your laptop in the back of the garage, and you've run the numbers and the data says, hey, it's shorter distance, we think it'll be faster? How do you sum up the courage to approach the 4-time winner and make that suggestion? Maybe through a proxy.
Yeah, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing that. Well, right now, his teammate, Marcus Armstrong, still fastest, still leading the way. Rookie Dennis Hauger out on track, the reigning Indy Next champion, dubbed the Norwegian Nightmare. He's had something of a nightmare day, but is now circulating and has moved up to 29th with his last lap of a 220.327 miles an hour. Meanwhile, Joseph Newgarden has jumped up into the top 3 with only one car ahead of him. Just a one-car tow to a 225.12. Now, had a slightly delayed start to the day, but Santino Ferrucci got out on track. Set a pretty good pace up there in 13th place, standing by with Kevin Lee.
First, we need to make sure the crew doesn't leave you. I hope that they won't leave you stranded here. 13 quick so far. How's the race car?
Oh, race car is great. Obviously, you know, these guys have built a hell of a car. We had some radio communication stuff this morning and some tech issues, but, you know, it's just people being stubborn. But at the end of the day, you know, we had to write a couple of things. It's a different car. Happy with it. You know, we're going to go back, make sure everything techs correctly again, and do set down, call it a day. And, you know, this thing's fast, so we got through what we wanted to, and, yeah, now we're going to have some fun.
You know you're in the race, so what is the focus and how aggressive do you get as the week goes on trying to qualify up at the front of the field?
I'm sure we'll get pretty aggressive, but I don't think we have to like last year. Last year, we just didn't quite have the raw speed. This car definitely, I think, has got it.
It's a good sign. All right, don't miss your ride. The 14 homes for our Troops AJ Foyt racing crew is headed back to the garage after a solid opening day.
Them fighting words. Santino's got some spice in that race car. That's the sound of a guy who thinks he'll be a top 9 competitor. Well, he has been every year, hasn't he? For qualifying. Yeah, well, I mean top 9 in qualifying. He hasn't always been. No, not for the race. In terms of pure car speed, but
this guy, he's in that group, just waiting for that first win. And every time we come here, we always talk about him as having a chance. Anytime we go to an oval, we talk about him having a chance. But there is something in particular about this circuit that just seems to light him up. And speaking of being lit up, the yellow lighting panels around the track and flags are out. Track inspection. So we'll pop away for a couple of seconds and return to IMS. Back at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, all calm and quiet for the time being, under caution. Let's take a look at the top 10 times of the day. Marcus Armstrong still at the top from Connor Daly and Joseph Newgarden and Scott Dixon, both of them winners of this fabled race. Then Kirkwood and McLaughlin, Malukas, Harvey, O'Ward, and Rossi. Alex Palou, our reigning champion and defending race winner, still in his garage. Work continuing on his car. Joseph Newgarden out of his. 45 minutes remain on the clock.
The official INDYCAR app, powered by NTT Data, puts the pulse-pounding action of INDYCAR right at your fingertips. Never miss a lap with the latest news, highlights, and live race coverage. Track every move with real-time leaderboards, interactive maps, onboard cameras, and driver radio. Your all-access pass to every race, every moment, every day. Download the official INDYCAR app.
The green flag flies. The INDYCAR Fantasy Challenge, driven by Firestone, is back.
It's overtaken, same as you.
This is your chance to prove you know the fastest racing on Earth better than anyone else.
Let's just take care of the tires. Stay in a rhythm here.
Pick your driver.
All good. Let's get back in the game here.
Build your team.
You guys are in demand.
Compete against friends and family for bragging rights, plus some epic prizes.
It's going to be like 2 or 3 laps flat out here.
Get started for free at INDYCAR.com/fantasy or by downloading Grid Rival on the App Store and Google Play.
Hey, stay under. Keep going. We're going to have to pass those guys. Let's go, boys! Checkered flag, man. Congratulations, everybody.
Well, who will kiss the bricks in 2026? We'll find out May 24th, live on Fox. Coverage begins at 10 Eastern. Now, he just jumped up to third before the caution came out. Joseph Newgarden is down on pit lane with Kevin Lee.
Yeah, somebody who certainly knows about kissing those bricks and celebrating. All right, you just put your fastest lap of the day in. It looks like you're done. Did you get accomplish what you wanted to today?
Yeah, I think so for today. Yeah, it was a good data gathering. It's hot, very different to the test, so it's important to understand these swings. You know, what you're going to need in different conditions. We don't really know what race day is going to bring. We know it's going to be hot this weekend, but that's just qualifying. So we were working on our race car today, and yeah, the shell car feels pretty good. Team Chevy's here to bring it, so let's see what we got.
You were working with teammates. Do you have a feel of how things are going as far as traffic is concerned?
So hard to say. Day one, a lot of people working on qualifying stuff today, so I think it's hard to say right now.
Okay, and then if you have people around you, that doesn't do you a lot of good if you're working on qualifying sims. Jamie.
Walking through Gasoline Alley, drivers all around. Marcus Ericsson, here he is. He was signing some autographs. 2022 Indy 500 winner. So today you guys have only turned about 22 laps or so. What have you guys been up to? How's the car overall?
Yeah, we've just been doing some checks really, you know, like trying to do quality runs, more like qualifying focus, just sort of preparation for this weekend. And then now, you know, try and get out and do some traffic running here at the end of the day. So, but it's been positive. I think all 3 unready cars, we've got some good answers. So, yeah, pretty happy with it, even though the lap count is not that big.
How do you manage these days? 6 hours, right? And there's 4 straight days, but you only have so many sets of tires that you're able to work with.
Yeah, I mean, that's the challenge, right? Especially when the forecast, you know, thankfully is looking pretty good. Then you do become a bit tire limited. But yeah, that means you have to be quality. You know, every run you do, you need to have quality. You need to be focused on learning. You can't just be running just for the sake of running. So I think that's been a bit the case for us today. And yeah, we will analyze it and hopefully run a bit more tomorrow.
All right, we'll see you out there. Marcus Ericsson going back out with about 40 minutes remaining in this practice.
Marcus Ericsson with the second fewest laps run so far today, 15 for him. Interestingly, his teammate Will Power on 22. That combined makes 37. Their teammate Carl Kirkwood has done 38. So it's not been a huge day of running for Andretti. Completely the opposite to the ECR drivers, 78 and 74. That's each one of them individually as much as the Andretti team combined. Seemingly Andretti focusing on qualifying, almost everybody else focusing on race pace on this first day under glorious conditions here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
The Indy 500 doesn't have a red carpet. It has bricks, riddled with oil, dirt, and 114 years of history. Pucker up.
Back at Indy, there the car of Ed Carpenter. His two drivers, regular season drivers, as we saw before the commercial break, having run the most laps of anybody out there on circuit today. Guys, we have just over 30 minutes remaining. Who has work to do? Who has been impressive?
Well, start with work to do. Elia Castroneves.
Yeah, that was the...
Talked about that.
First that came to mind. I mean, Alex Palou, if he gets back out there today, but I don't think he will, he's got some work to identify whatever issue caused him to come in. But I think Castroneves is the biggest right here, along with a few other one-off cars that probably need some more laps. Catherine Legg as well would probably like to get more comfortable.
Another one that is a bit of a surprise to me at this point, if I'm honest, is Ryan Hunter-Reay. He's down there in 31st, 19 laps on the board. On the no-toe times, he's in the 30s as well. So I'm not sure if that's just hasn't done a lot of laps, or the laps he's done haven't been feeling good, and so he's trying to fix the problem. But
it's such a tough day, though, to read in a no-toe, because normally most Tuesdays we're looking at race running, and we've had a lot of kind of qual sim runs as well to mix into it. So I think it's too early to read into it outside of body language and what drivers have told us.
What do we make out of Takuma Sato? 15th, but only 17 laps on the board.
I'm neutral on that one.
Okay. Meanwhile, two teams have all of their drivers currently in the top 10. Penske, 3rd, 6th, 7th. And how about this? Dreyer and Reinbold Racing. The one race they do of the year, the Indy 500, their drivers currently sit 2nd and 8th. Green flag, cars back out on track, 35 minutes on the clock.
I expect to see a pretty busy racetrack. I mean, certainly we know some of the drivers like Newgarden have already packed it up for the day. Drivers like Palou have had issues, so that's part of the reason why they're out. We saw the front of that field was Hunter-Reay, who we were just talking about not having clocked a ton of laps today, under 20. Not many drivers with lap counts that low. He'll go out now, presumably for a long run. And Kyle Collette, how about that kid? Just ahead of Rosenquist there on the racetrack, quickest in the open test. Learning how to tow, learning how to manipulate the car to work well in traffic.
26th overall, but 8th fastest in the no-toes.
Which is, again, impressive, because on the combined with tow, he was quickest in the test. So car seems to be handling well in traffic. Car seems to be decent so far on the no-tow times. I know not everybody was working on single lap pace today, but a fair few were, and some strong teams and some big hitters. So that's reasonably positive for Collette early in the month.
Drivers about to head out. One of them, Rinus VeeKay, and Kevin's got him before he jumps into his car.
He's been stopping and signing autographs on the walk down, so it took longer. All right, not much time left. How much do you still need to get done, and where are you at?
Feeling good right now. Our plan was to just get through a few qual sims and make sure that the balance is good in that sim before we really start to explore that more on Thursday and Friday. Going out in traffic now, kind of mixing it up in traffic, so we'll see how that goes. But the car's fast, it's fun to drive, and that's a really important aspect around this track. You got to have confidence.
Thank you, Rinus. This guy has been as fast as anyone in the qualifying sims, and he's back in a Chevy this year where he was so quick with ECR.
50% of his races here at the Indy 500, he has started from the front row. Rapid is Rinus VeeKay's middle name.
50% of the time, he starts in the front row every time.
Bingo.
But, he says something there that sounds so obvious, but it really is an important element here, and that's confidence in the race car. And if you're not, you can have a fast car, but if it's not talking to you as a driver, it's not giving you the feedback that you want to feel through your hands, through the seat, it's really tough to be competitive in this race. Kind of like the story we were telling about Hunter-Reay earlier in the day. wasn't happy with the speed of his race car, but was very comfortable. I'd rather have a comfortable race car that's not that quick, because in traffic, I know I can put it where I need to put it. And in race conditions, it's going to be good. If you've got a car that's super quick but sketch all day long for 200 laps to hang on to it, it is a big ask.
This is Stingray Robb on board the Goodhart Chevy with Jacob Abel up ahead.
And Abel 12th right now on the charts, guys. How about that? He's 14th on the no-toe. There seems to be some genuine speed in that program.
Genuinely incredible turnaround. Will be classified as a rookie this year, as he didn't qualify for what would have been his first ever Indianapolis 500 last year. Took that lack of qualifying pace with incredibly good grace.
And that's such a fun thing to watch as this race unfolds. 2 Sundays from now is that Rookie of the Year battle. You know, it's 4 good drivers, 4 strong programs, and it's going to be interesting to see who comes out on top of that battle, as you see guys pulling out, trying to make moves on the outside, trying to fall back in line. Again, it creates some of those unrealistic race conditions, things you won't see on race day, but a lot of jockeying for position right now to put yourself where you want to be in line to really feel what your race car's got.
Well, Hauger had a late start to his day, the rookie, but already up to 23rd, 12 laps on the board for him, and a best lap of a 221.5.
Someone hitting the limiter pretty good there. That Renus VK popping out, or maybe Graham Rahal coming to the pits, and a combination of both. Oh, that's Ed Carpenter there in the slim fast car.
Kevin Simpson moving out on Christian Rasmussen. Louis Foster going through as well. And these practice days as useful for us, I think, as for the drivers, in getting used to the one-off liveries for the Indy 500. Figuring out who's running what. That's Jacob Abel in the 51. Ed Carpenter behind him.
Clear.
Yeah, one of the big things for the rookies right now in these kind of bigger group runs, it's not just figuring out how to pass, how to time your runs and all that. It's also figuring out how to get past without losing too much momentum, how to fall back in line. If you know a pass is almost inevitable, the times when it's actually advantageous to lift off early to give yourself a better positioning in the corner. Like that example right there, Jacob Abel, you can see, kind of fought it into turn 1 there. I believe that was Stingray Robb who made the pass on the outside, but then just look at the queue that's formed behind him. He's 6-7 car lengths behind Stingray. He's got Rossi 2 car lengths behind him, and that checks up the entire group. You see Connor now trying to make the move on Elio.
And right there as Abel tries to pull in to the dirty air. He's not looking that confident. You get a big lift right there, and now all of a sudden Connor Daly's going to have a run.
And this is
kind of a snowball effect.
It's just going to say it's a domino thing. You just start losing places every straight because you're just out of rhythm. You're out of sync with where you need to be turning, where you need to be lifting, the momentum you've got at which part of the racetrack. And it's so easy to have one little mistake, one little mispositioning of the car or mistiming of a pass or a defensive move, and you can find yourself falling 4, 5, 6 places down over the next handful of laps.
Elio Castroneves hasn't looked that comfortable trying to carve past Jacob Abel like Connor Daly just did. So we'll have to see if he can make some adjustments maybe in the cockpit and get a run here on the front straightaway.
It's pretty telling, isn't it? I mean, all these cars in front were able to clear Abel pretty quickly. And Elio struggling with speed, maybe struggling with balance as well.
Some numbers on age. Elio Castroneves, the oldest driver in the field, but there have been older drivers in the Indy 500. AJ Foyt, 56 years old. Excuse me, 57 years old in the Indy 500. And Mario was set to be the oldest driver to ever attempt to qualify, I think back in 2003, when Tony Kanaan had broken an arm racing at Motegi, and Mario was going to attempt to qualify Kanaan's car. I don't think there was a plan for him to race it, but to qualify Kanaan's car. But then he had that spectacular accident, that bizarre spectacular accident in the short chute between turns 1 and 2. But can you imagine, I can believe it, but what an achievement that would be at age 63 to qualify for the Indy 500.
If you're new to IndyCar or to the Indy 500, you can look that up online. Mario hit some debris and the car went skyward. Mario once told me that as the nose lifted up, he could see his hospitality suite on the top of the grandstands at turn 2 and thought he was going to end up in there. The car flipped around, landed back down. He walked away with a cut on his chin. That was it. Incredibly fortunate. Suffice it to say, he did not go on to qualify the car.
So, you know, you watch these cars driving around in this line, and from these camera angles, up high, even trackside, down low, getting a sense of the speed. What you don't get a sense of is the feeling of driving in dirty air. When you're on race downforce at the Speedway, you're out front in clean air. The car feels very planted, very solid. You're comfortably flat out, full throttle the whole way around. But as soon as you start getting into the dirty air, it's turbulent air. It feels like turbulence in an airplane. So think of a plane that's flying, everything's perfectly comfortable, you can walk up and down the aisle, no problem. All of a sudden, you know, your Jack and Coke on the table starts spilling because of turbulence. That's what it feels like inside the cockpit of one of these race cars. Like Rossi right now, in the dirty air of the car in front of Stingray Robb. The car's moving, it's shaking, it feels completely different. It's trying to slide out from underneath you. And that's what you've got to get comfortable with, because at Indy, there's only one leader. Everyone else, one of the 32 cars is running in dirty air.
And just to clarify, when a driver says their car feels pretty good in traffic, it really doesn't mean it feels good.
It's relative.
It just doesn't feel that as bad as it did before, after we made, or before we made the change. So you're never really comfortable in traffic, but you've got to learn to get as comfortable as possible.
You got to be comfortable being uncomfortable.
Take that to the bank.
25 minutes on the first day of practice for the 110th running of the Indy 500 remain. Marcus Armstrong is still the fastest man of the day.
This is Indy's champagne. It doesn't come from Champagne, France, but from the southern region of this Holstein dairy cow. Rich, smooth, and best paired with victory.
Carl Kirkwood shapes up for a move on Stingray Rob, heading down into turn 3. The one-time leader of the early championship chase in 2026, proving he is quite the rounded driver as he enters this season as one of the strongest challengers to Alex Palou, running home with a 5th championship title.
What's track temp say up there, Hinch?
It's at $110. Dropping nicely still. I mean, it's been 79 degrees pretty much all afternoon. Hasn't dropped yet.
Beautiful day. Kirkwood, the fastest no-toe time, 222 miles an hour. And look, who is all fixed up and ready to go.
I wonder, I'm going to ask the question James pondered earlier. Did they find something? Or did they not find something and say, well, let's just go try it, see if everything is okay?
Only one way to find out. Yeah, I think what you'll see is the 10 go out on the complete opposite side of the racetrack from where this train is. You'll want just some clean air, a couple clean out laps just to feel it out, build up the speed, and then if all feels well, they'll time it to get him into the back of the pack so he can start working on his race car.
Incredible job by the 10 crew down there at Chip Ganassi Racing. I didn't think we'd see him for the rest of the day.
It's one of those things, right? Again, we talk about how there doesn't seem to be a mad rush this week just because the weather looks okay, the tire allotment being what it is. But at the same time, you can have unforeseen problems like Palou just had, and that robs you of track time. So if the car is capable of running right now, I get it. I endorse it. It's also going to help them sleep better at night if they have fixed the problem. For even if Palou just goes out by himself for 4 or 5 laps, feels it out, confirms, yeah, we're all good. We don't need to mix it up in traffic right now, but we know we can hit the ground running when the track goes green tomorrow.
I think I'd want to work the weight jacker a little bit, work both bars, just make sure that mechanically everything is sound. You saw them earlier looking at the suspension rockers. They were under the car. They were looking at the gearbox. So a bit of a mystery. Hopefully they found something. And if not, hopefully things are A-okay.
Rosenquist and O'Ward going back at it as they have been for most of the day. These two good friends, rival teams. Sitting on board now with the Arrow McLaren driver, Pato O'Ward.
And that thing looks better than it did earlier, T-Bell. They're not quite as much kickback through the steering wheel. He was nicely flat through turn 4, pretty close to the back of Rosenquist. Certainly the track temps coming down is going to help that. That's going to make everybody's car feel a little bit better. But that one even just visually looks like it's handling the racetrack a little more comfortably.
Looks like Rossi's going to peel off into pit lane, and O'Ward will have to dig deep here to try to close the gap to Christian Lundgaard up ahead.
Pretty speedy lap times out there at the moment, ranging anywhere from the 2:18s to the 2:22s.
Oh, Scott Dixon making a move and
doing the fade up,
decisively reclaiming his turn-in point.
Take that, Ericsson, or Armstrong rather. This guy here, what a record at the Speedway. You know, he's won in 2008 like we've talked about, but this guy has led at every point of an Indy 500. Of the 200 laps, he's led at every lap except lap 157 and 162.
That's very specific.
At some point in his career, he has been leading on each of the other 198 laps of this race.
How do you figure that out? What kind of Excel query?
Bulls, you got any answers on that? Or is that a Russ Thompson question?
What do you have to run there to make something like that happen? Otherwise, that's a week buried in the history books.
His 677 laps led at this circuit, at this race, I should say. is the most in history.
I was looking at the rear wing of Scott Dixon, and interestingly, as his teammate Alex Palou climbs in with a little bit of urgency, 17 minutes to go, they should be able to get out and get some good running in. But Scott Dixon's rear wing, no gurney flap that I could see there. Doesn't mean they're running less downforce. You could have more wing angle and no gurney. So we'll have to see how he does in that configuration aerodynamically as he gets to the back of Rinus VeeKay.
The teams have, you know, a finite amount of kind of aerodynamic configurations they can run, but boy, do teams find different combinations of things to try to find the balance that best suits their driver, their mechanical setup. So as Townsend said, you can see a nice flat, clean rear wing there, no wicker on it to add a little bit of downforce, but it also comes at a drag penalty. On the front wing, there are wickers you can run inboard, outboard, left side only, right side only, all sorts of different derivatives of the aero package. All the teams have the same body parts, the same body kit. It's not like Formula One where everybody designs and builds all their own body work. Everyone's given the same pieces of the puzzle. It's how you put them together that sets them apart.
Yeah, similar configuration here with Pato O'Ward. No gurney flap on that rear wing. And then if we go to the Marcus Ericsson car, the number 28 here, you'll see that gurney flap about a third span.
And there's a payoff, right? However you want to do it. You can add more wing angle and have no wicker, or you can have less wing angle and more wicker, and the wind tunnel will tell you what the difference is in downforce versus drag.
Hey, Kevin, what's going on with Alex Palou?
Great question. So I just spoke with Barry Wanzer, who is on the 10 stand, one of the managers at Chip Ganassi Racing, and he said they did not find a specific issue. So they just simply took it apart, put it back together, made sure everything is correct. Barry said it was the first run in traffic, but he just didn't feel right. So they'll go back out. They trust a veteran driver, and they'll see what they find. But everything is all put back together, and they don't see any issues.
You ever had that, guys? Have you ever had to go back out when you've reported an issue to the team, they've not been able to find anything? Does it knock your confidence?
It doesn't feel great. Definitely does not feel great. But so that kind of helps answer the question of what the real goal is of this run. They are for sure going to send Alex out on the opposite side of the racetrack from the group, and this is about establishing whether there is an issue they've got to do an even deeper dive into tonight to make sure they're not starting on the back foot tomorrow. But yeah, from a driver's standpoint, it's never a great feeling. I mean, there's a chance that he ran over something on the racetrack, heard a clunk, and came in, and that's why the team can't find anything. So there's a couple possible explanations. I'm sure there's lots of theories flying around the 10 garage right now, but ultimately they've just got to get back out on the racetrack and see if that phenomenon's still there.
Rosenquist and O'Ward, meanwhile, still going at it on track.
More cars exiting pit lane to join the group here. I think I saw Kiffin Simpson being one of them as Pato O'Ward continues to refine his race car there.
Got about 10 cars out on track.
Is that Sato in front of Kiffin Simpson?
Well, Jack Harvey's immediately in front.
Excuse me, just behind.
No,
maybe it is Sato. Excuse me. That's Sato. That is Simpson at the back of the field.
Oh, it might be Connor Daly because I don't see him on the tracker, and we've had issues with Connor.
I think Sato's just updated. He's just with Kiffin. He was stuck.
Oh, yeah, there it is. Yeah.
I think Kiffin just got around Sato. Here comes Palou. Palou is certainly exiting into a group. So James, we'll have to see if he drops way back or just decides to cowboy up here and get into the fray. I think he's going to just join mid-pack.
That is confident.
Yeah, I mean, the team knows where the cars are. If they sent them there, they sent them there on purpose. I am a little bit surprised, but Credit to them, they seem to believe that the car should be A-okay. And this driver's got so much confidence in his race team.
Wow.
And why wouldn't you?
I mean, that's evidence right there of having absolute faith in your team. They say it's good to go, it's good to go.
I'll tell you what, man, he's not waiting around. Nope, it's not like he's getting swallowed up by the cars behind. So Palou straight to it, straight on it.
I mean, on one hand,
hold on.
Good practice on race day. If you had an issue and you came to the box and take a quick look, throw some tires on it, you got to just get back out there. So cuts both ways for Alex Palou, and it looks just fine.
Now that he's out there, in some traffic, he might be able to bump up the times a little bit. And oh, look at that! Yeah, I guess it's all right.
We're good.
That's ridiculous. You talk about having the confidence in your team, in your car, in your abilities. You sit in a garage when you think there is something wrong with your car. The team can find nothing. They send you back out. You've heard from James Hinchcliffe and Townsend Bell. It is a worry. It runs through your head if they cannot find what's wrong with that car. But you trust in your team so much, you go out there. You don't just set your own fastest lap. You set the fastest lap we've seen today. A 225.937.
And he's cutting through traffic now, but I want to point out he is out there on tires that are probably 10 to 12 laps at least fresher than the cars he's immediately racing. So it does look, I mean, the pace is the pace. Everyone had new tires when they did their pace for the most part, but his ability now to just run up through the field, just kind of run the gamut on everybody.
That's Firestone courage we talk about.
Exactly right. 4 shots of Firestone and you're ready to go. 4 shots of fresh rubber.
About 4 more laps.
And this is where if you're Christian Lundgaard and you've been cycling around behind your teammate and all of a sudden Palou goes blowing by, you're like, dude, Palou's car is amazing. And you have to filter for tire mileage. You have to be so careful on these practice days to not...
Tires, just for reference. Palou is on new tires.
There it is.
I was just going to say that is a piece of information that you do communicate with your driver, is what the tire life of the cars around you, so that you don't get spooked when someone drives up to, by, and away from you.
What was Nolan Siegel saying there?
Something about feeling slow. Siegel right now out in the front of that group, ran a 2:18.6 that last lap.
Hearing that Christian Lundgaard had also reported feeling slow on track, so 2 of the 4 McLarens not super happy as Palou peels off and all systems go.
What a mic drop from Alex Palou.
Yeah,
31st for most of the day, just over 20 laps run. Thinks there's an issue with the car. Spends half the day in the garage, goes out.
I will say, came out in a perfect situation. Back of 10 cars, brand new tires. You got a monster draft. Track temp is dropping. I'm not going to discount the achievement. It's great, but perfect time and happy hour to throw up a big time. But for Alex Palou, it's not about that lap time. It is all about verifying that the car is good. And we'll have to see, do they put it away or do they make a change and send them back out here?
Astonishing. Well, just under 10 minutes remain. A whole bunch of cars out on track. And improvements going on as well. Some pretty rapid times out there.
Got to think Marco Andretti's watching somewhere, James, thinking, man, I miss those days. A Tuesday, sticker up with 15 to go, find the back of the pack and post a number.
Nice way to end the day. Nice way to end day one.
Things getting a little feisty there mid-pack. That's Marcus Ericsson just popped out on his teammate Will Power. Alexander Rossi with Ed Carpenter Racing still in the mix. His teammate Christian Rasmussen already went back to the garage earlier. Felix Rosenqvist getting a little high there out of turn 2, just out of the corner of the shot. Looks like Jack Harvey's going to call it a day.
And a great day for him, a top 10 time. His teammate Connor Daly third.
Have to take a look back here. Did Rosenqvist really get high, or were my eyes to see? Yeah, it's pretty high.
High-ish. Slightly squeaky.
Yeah, plenty of room.
Miles.
Plenty of room. When you're in dirty air trying to keep it pinned off a 4 or 2.
Well, he went from the bottom to the top. Mic drop at the end of the day. Alex Palou with Kevin.
Yeah, as Will Buxton says, that's a bit of a mic drop. I guess the car's okay?
Yeah, it's good. It's good. It's good now. We had a couple of issues, but yeah, we fixed them.
I talked with Barry. He said, really, we didn't see a specific issue. So what is that like going out and not being certain that they found it? The trust that you must put in your race team.
Yeah, it was more than a mechanical issue or anything. It was just balance, not being super happy with it. So yeah, we found something that explained what I was feeling, and it was good to go back out today before we go to sleep so we can be a bit happier. But yeah, the car feels good now, and yeah, just a shame that the session is over.
Did you get enough done for the day, or do you have a little bit of catch-up to do tomorrow?
You always want to do a lot more. We didn't do many laps today, but still, we understood a lot of stuff. This is a different car to what I had at the open test, so it was very important just to see how I felt, if I was confident or not. So yeah, feeling much better than this morning.
Thank you, Alex.
Thank you.
Interesting. So if I read that right, nothing mechanically wrong with the car, but something that needed amending on the setup.
Yeah, it sounds something balance-wise is what they quote-unquote found. For Barry to say we found nothing wrong with the car, and for Palou to say, well, we found something in the balance, in the data that would explain the balance issue. So
nothing broke.
Nothing was broken or misplaced or, loose or anything like that. But there was a phenomenon, an anomaly in the setup that gave him a handling feeling he didn't love.
Boy, Will Power working awfully hard behind the wheel there. Tons of adjustments in traffic. Probably near the end of the tire life stint. Cars kind of walking around on him. You see the same from Ericsson, hunting on the throttle right here. So this is where it gets really hard. 25, 30 laps on the tires. It doesn't feel great, but you got to make it work with your tools and what you do with your hands and feet.
Less than 5 minutes remaining. Some quick time starting to be posted as well. Graham Rahal up there to 6th place, the man who took his second podium of the season just at the weekend on the Indy road course. Takuma Sato 14th at the moment. Who else is improving? Rinus VK 19th.
It's good to see Graham get up there. They struggled at the open test. We talked about it a bit earlier in the day, kind of across the team, but he was fairly low as well.
I feel like he's due for a good one. Last 5 years, Graham finished 32nd, 14th, 22nd, 15th, 17th.
What was it, 21? He was running well.
He had a 3rd in 2020. He had a 5th in 2015. He had a 3rd in 2011. So about every 5 years for Graham, he's done this thing 18 times. This will be his 19th. If you believe in stats and the rhythm of the stats, this should be a solid year for Graham. He got off to a great start with a podium at the GP.
Let's roll it back to Phoenix. 3rd on the grid.
Yeah.
There's oval pace in that car, and that's something which they've struggled with.
Yes, well, it's different, though. This is a very different type of racetrack. You're not wrong. They struggled with short oval pace, too, and they made big strides in that. They struggled here at the Speedway.
What's the no-toe look like?
Hold, please. We have a short graphic that rotates through, so it might take me a second. But
I hate to, I shouldn't even ask.
17th.
Tuesday. I know better on a Tuesday than ask.
17th. Well, Yes, and we delivered.
And you did.
Which again is reasonable. Again, in the open test, in terms of no toe times.
I don't know. Really torn on this thing. On which way? It's just using the tire mainly.
Graham always so good about giving us radio feedback before he gets plugged into the hardline intercom. And it just sounds like he's at that kind of indecision point on maybe a setup going one direction or the other. Reference the tire there at the very end.
It is so tough when it's not a super clean, obvious read, right? As a driver, you're like, it was maybe better here, but maybe not as good in this part of the track or this part of the stint.
And sometimes the angst in the voice can be because you have to pick, you're going to have to pick something to bet on for the rest of the week. Could be geometry, it could be a damper option. And, you know, an experienced driver like Graham knows, hey, my feedback is going to be critical here, because it's going to kind of set the platform, the foundation for what we are going to be using the next several days. Minute left.
Now, no one has run more laps than this man. 114 today for Alexander Rossi.
Dear Lord.
Teammate 89. Huge number of laps there. We just caught a glimpse of Takuma Sato. Started from the front row last year on the one-off entry for RLL. So 2 RLLs in the top 6. Takuma Sato's not up there, is he? I was thinking about the last year. Rahal in the top 6. Takuma Sato, my apologies, still down there in P14.
Rossi turning a lot of laps, and it seems to be working. I mean, he
looks happy.
Yeah, he's dicing back and forth there with Dixon. Seems very confident. Seems like the car's responding. Thinks he's coming into the pits this time. Probably not. He's practicing coming off a too low. He's almost working on a last lap late in the race leading kind of strategy here. Can he keep Dixon behind the way he came off a 2?
Worked a little, still 5.
Connor Daly getting in the fight as well, having some fun.
Bold, mildly late move there.
And the checkered flag is out. Day 1 at Indianapolis is done.
Dixon comes in. Connor will stay out one more time, along with, I think, his teammate Jack Harvey's back there.
Harvey pipped down to 11th by that very last gasp lap from Graham Rahal up into 6th.
Driver Reinbold should be very proud with this first official day of practice. Strong in the open test. Looked like a very productive run today. Good car speed. Both drivers mixing it up in traffic.
No question. No question. Hinch, who's impressed you today?
I mean, that Pelot performance, you know, is nothing to shake a stick at, certainly, but Rossi was looking good there at the end. You know, we talked on the no-toe side, and Andretti Global looks very strong. Nolan Siegel, pretty strong effort from him as well.
Well, Elio in his drive for 5 with work to do, but a fascinating day, both in the toe and the no-toe speeds. Some doing race prep, others doing quali prep, all going for the ultimate time. But it's Alex Pelot who is the fastest at Indianapolis on day 1 of practice for the 110th running of the Indy 500. Come back tomorrow. More on-track action coming your way from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. For James Hinchcliffe, Townsend Bell, I've been Will Buxton. We'll see you tomorrow at Indy.